Okay, let's jump into this. What if I told you that, you could be putting in all this effort at the gym, lifting hard, sweating, but maybe you're still missing out on some significant results?
Yeah, like maybe just pushing harder isn't the whole story. The
Exactly.
sources we're looking at today, they really zero in on this. They suggest there's this key element a lot of people overlook, something the pros, like elite athletes and bodybuilders, apparently really focus on.
And what is that?
They call it the mind-muscle connection.
Mind-muscle connection. Okay, it sounds a little, I don't know, maybe a bit abstract. But the material suggests it's actually based on, well, real science.
Definitely.
So our mission here is to unpack these sources, figure out what this connection really is, how you can actually build it, and why it might be that missing link for you, helping you train smarter,
Yeah.
not just harder.
Right. And the sources, they start by giving a definition that's pretty grounded. It's not just about a feeling. They define it as consciously focusing on the specific muscle you want to work during an exercise. The goal being to get more muscle fibers,
Yeah.
like involved in that specific muscle.
So it's not just about, say, lifting the dumbbell up and down. It's about making sure your bicep or whatever the target is doing the lion's share of the work.
Precisely. It's a pretty key difference,
Interesting.
actually.
Does the source material get into why this focus actually works? Like what's happening physiologically?
Yeah, they do. They mentioned some pretty compelling findings. There was this one study, I think it was in the European Journal of Applied Physiology.
Okay.
It found that just thinking about the muscle you're targeting while you exercise, well, it actually increased its electrical activity, its activation, by up to 22%.
Hold on, up to 22%.
Yeah.
Just from thinking about it, wow, that's a big number. It suggests your brain, your focus can basically turn up the volume on how much your muscle is working.
Exactly. It's like unlocking potential that's already there.
That's fascinating.
And the sources put it in a cool way, suggesting you can sort of hack your nervous system
Mm.
to make this connection better.
Hack your nervous system. I like that. Sounds kind of futuristic, but hopefully practical.
Oh, they give some very practical tips. Real game changers you could try, like today.
All right, I'm listening. What's the first hack?
Number one is pretty simple on the surface, but really effective. Slow down.
Slow down the recs.
Yep. Specifically, they recommend something like a 3-1-3 method.
3-1-3. Break that down for us.
Okay, so it's about the tempo. You take 3 seconds to lift the weight. That's the concentric part.
Right.
Then you pause for a full second at the top, really squeezing the muscle, peak contraction.
Okay, got it.
And then you take 3 deliberate seconds to lower the weight back down the eccentric phase.
3 up, 1 squeeze, 3 down.
Exactly. The material points out that moving this slowly makes it, well, really hard to cheat. You can't really use momentum or let other muscles take over by accident. It forces you to focus purely on that target muscle.
I can totally see that. It would instantly highlight if you're just, flinging the weight around. Okay, what's tip number 2? This one sounds like it might ruffle some feathers.
Huh. Yeah, it probably will.
Yeah.
Use lighter weights.
Lighter weights. That goes against everything you hear, right? Go heavy or go home.
Totally counterintuitive for many.
Hmm.
But the sources suggest temporarily dropping the weight, maybe by around 20% compared to what you usually lift.
Temporarily, okay.
Yeah, the idea isn't to lift light forever. It's to pair that, say, 20% less weight with like 100% more focus.
Yeah.
They argue that getting really high-quality contractions with a weight you can fully control actually stimulates more growth than struggling with a heavier weight where your form breaks down and the connection is lost.
So it's about quality over quantity or quality over just sheer poundage.
You got it. The source even kind of calls you out,
Yeah.
suggesting you might need to check your ego.
Yeah, the ego lift. We've all seen it. Okay, so slow down, lighten up for focus. What's the third tip? This one seems almost too simple,
It does, but it's effective. Just touch the muscle.
like while you're doing the exercise.
Yeah. If possible, place your free hand on the muscle you're working. Feel it contract. Feel it get hard under your fingers. It's direct biofeedback.
Ah, okay. So you get that immediate physical confirmation that, yes, this is the muscle working. It makes the connection more tangible.
Exactly. Makes it feel more real, less abstract.
Makes sense. And the fourth tip gets back into the mental side of things. Visualization.
Right. Before you even start your set, the sources suggest taking a second. Maybe close your eyes. And just mentally picture the muscle you're about to work.
See it working in your head.
Yeah. See it contracting, lengthening, doing the movement perfectly. It's like priming the pump, getting those neural pathways ready before you even lift the weight. It's thought to help recruit more motor units when you actually begin.
So like a mental warm-up for the specific muscle?
Kinda, yeah.
They also had a little pro tip in there about warm-ups in general, didn't they?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, good point. They suggested that starting your actual warm-up sets using things like resistance bands or cables can sometimes be better for initially feeling and activating the muscle compared to, say, jumping straight onto a cold barbell.
Ah, interesting. Easier to establish that connection early on, maybe?
That seems to be the idea.
So if you take all these things together, slowing down, lightening the load for focus, touching, visualizing, how does this actually change the feeling of a workout for someone listening? Because it sounds like a big shift.
It absolutely is. It
Hmm.
changes lifting from just, a numbers game or a mechanical task into something more mindful, more internal.
Yeah.
And the sources emphasize this isn't just some theory cooked up in a gym somewhere.
Mhm.
It's not just bro science, as they say.
Mhm.
This is something that high-level performers actually use.
They gave some solid examples, right? Like Arnold.
Yeah, Arnold Schwarzenegger. There's that famous quote about how during bench presses, he wasn't just pushing the bar, he was concentrating on feeling every fiber of his chest contracting.
Feeling every fiber. That's intense focus.
Yeah. It really is. And then there's Tom Platz.
Oh, yeah, the legs. Unbelievable.
Incredible. And the material mentions him using what some might consider relatively lightweight on squats, like 135 pounds sometimes.
Which is light for him.
Exactly. But he'd do it with this described as insane focus, feeling every part of his quads and hamstrings working through the entire movement.
Again, it just hammers home that point. The quality driven by focus matters more than just the number on the plates.
It really does.
Yeah.
And they even brought in an example from outside bodybuilding, Serena Williams.
The tennis legend.
Yeah.
How does this apply there?
Well, they mentioned her practice of visualizing muscles firing correctly, coordinating, before big matches. It shows this principle of mental connection to physical execution isn't just for building muscle size. It's for performance, coordination, everything.
That's a great point. It broadens the whole concept.
So what all these examples seem to illustrate, according to the sources, is that a ref's value isn't just about the weight. It's about the intention, the focus, the connection you bring to making the target muscle work.
Quality reps, connected reps, those are the ones that count most.
That seems to be the core message. So the big takeaway from all this source material is kind of profound, actually.
Yeah. What's the bottom line?
That while, sure, muscles physically grow in the gym because of the training stimulus,
Right.
they're fundamentally built in the mind.
Yeah.
Through that focus, that conscious control, that connection.
Built in the mind. I like that.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's make this actionable. Based on the sources, here's a challenge for you listening. Next time you work out, just pick one or maybe two exercises, something familiar.
Good idea. Like curls or push downs.
Yeah, or maybe leg extensions, rows, whatever. And consciously try these techniques. Drop the weight a bit, maybe 20% like the source suggested, but crank up your mental focus dial to 100%.
Really concentrate.
Use that 3-1-3 tempo.
Mm.
Touch the muscle if you can. Visualize it working before you start. And just pay attention. Notice how different it feels, the pump you get, the targeted fatigue. See if you feel a stronger connection.
It's a great experiment to run on yourself. And maybe leave you with this final thought to chew on.
Okay.
If the sources are right, and just thinking about a muscle can boost its activation by, potentially up to 22%, what else could that apply to? Think about other physical things you do, skills you practice, maybe even just everyday movements. How much better, how much more efficient or effective could they become if you brought that same kind of conscious, deliberate mental focus to how you're performing them?